Have you ever felt it? That subtle shift when the vibrant hum of your inner world seems to quieten? That quiet question that sometimes whispers in the solitude of night, am I still seen? Am I still desired? It's a feeling many women know, a gentle fading, perhaps, of what once felt like an undeniable magnetic pull. The world, or perhaps just a part of your world, begins to whisper that the fire might be dimming, that the current of life, the very essence of your feminine vitality, might be receding like the tide pulling back from the shore. We live in a world that often equates desire with a roaring flame, a visible, tangible heat, and when that roaring gives way to a gentle ember, we can mistake it for absence. We can mistake the quiet for emptiness. But what if it isn't an ending? What if it is, in fact, an invitation? A deeper call, perhaps, from the very core of who you are. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. This current is not static. It shifts, it evolves, it deepens. And in a woman, this sacred flow is intimately tied to her sense of being desired, yes, but more profoundly to her sense of desirability, not just in the eyes of another, but in the vast, boundless mirror of her own soul. When that feeling of external desirability seems to soften, there's a quiet ache, a longing for what was, or what we imagine should be. But often this quietness is not a signal of loss. It is the world inviting you to listen more closely, to the subtler rhythms, to the whispers of a deeper truth. Desire, you see, is not merely the body calling, it is the soul singing. And sometimes the soul sings its most profound melodies, not in a grand opera, but in the intimate, hushed tones of a lullaby, a song meant only for you. Perhaps the sensation that your magnetism has dimmed is not a truth about your essence. Perhaps it is merely a reflection of the outer world's noise finally quieting enough for you to hear what has always been there beneath the surface. The constant clamor of expectations, of images, of what should be, often drowns out the gentle, persistent pulse of your own unique life force.
To rediscover the source of your own inner magnetism, not as a tool for attracting others, but as a deep, resonant truth about your own being, a truth that is radiant regardless of external validation. Attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself. And within you, the universe is constantly remembering its own beauty, its own power, its own sacred connection. When you feel that sense of quietude, that softening of the outward gaze, it is not a sign of diminishing. It is an opportunity to turn your gaze inward, to listen to the quieter, deeper hum of your own exquisite aliveness. Perhaps the desire becoming quieter is actually it becoming more authentic, less about performance, less about seeking, more about simply being. A woman's power is not measured by the volume of admiration she garners, but by the depth of her own self-knowing, her own self-love, by the quiet reverence she holds for the miracle of her own existence. Perhaps the desire becoming quieter is actually it becoming more authentic, less about performance, less about seeking, more about simply being. A woman's power is not measured by the volume of admiration she garners, but by the depth of her own self-knowing, her own self-love, by the quiet reverence she holds for the miracle of her own existence. This journey is not about finding a lost spark. It's about recognizing that the spark was never lost. It simply transformed into something more profound, more subtle, more deeply rooted. It became less about external fireworks and more about the steady internal glow that illuminates everything from within. When we allow ourselves to feel this shift, not as a loss, but as an evolution, we open ourselves to a richness we might have missed in the clamor of youth. We begin to understand that the true current of life, the creative, healing, sacred energy, does not diminish with years. It matures, it ripens, it becomes wise. The longing for intimacy does not disappear. It deepens. It seeks connection not just in the physical, but in the soulful, in the shared space of vulnerability and understanding. The desire for inspiration, for strength, for creativity, these are the very expressions of this evolving energy. They are the soul's song, now sung with a richer timbre, a more resonant vibration. So, when the world seems to quiet around your perceived desirability, pause, breathe, feel the silence. For within that silence, a new kind of music begins, a melody of self-discovery, of profound self-acceptance, of an inner radiance that no external gaze can ever truly define or diminish. It's a journey back to yourself, to the magnificent, ever-present source of your own vitality, a vitality that is not dependent on being chosen, but on choosing yourself over and over again. This journey is not about finding a lost spark. It's about recognizing that the spark was never lost. It simply transformed into something more profound, more subtle, more deeply rooted. It became less about external fireworks and more about the steady internal glow that illuminates everything from within. When we allow ourselves to feel this shift, not as a loss, but as an evolution, we open ourselves to a richness we might have missed in the clamor of youth. We begin to understand that the true current of life, the creative, healing, sacred energy, does not diminish with years. It matures, it ripens, it becomes wise. The longing for intimacy does not disappear. It deepens. It seeks connection not just in the physical, but in the soulful, in the shared space of vulnerability and understanding. The desire for inspiration, for strength, for creativity, these are the very expressions of this evolving energy. They are the soul's song, now sung with a richer timbre, a more resonant vibration. So, when the world seems to quiet around your perceived desirability, pause, breathe, feel the silence. For within that silence, a new kind of music begins, a melody of self-discovery, of profound self-acceptance, of an inner radiance that no external gaze can ever truly define or diminish. It's a journey back to yourself, to the magnificent, ever-present source of your own vitality, a vitality that is not dependent on being chosen, but on choosing yourself over and over again. This is where true magnetic power resides, not in the fleeting, but in the eternal, not in the loud, but in the profoundly quiet, not in the chase, but in the deeply felt presence. Allow yourself to listen to that quiet. Allow yourself to be drawn into its depth, for it holds secrets, treasures, and a love that has always been yours. We speak of desire, of passion, of that magnetic current that once seemed to flow so effortlessly. And then, for some, the quiet question arises, where did it go? Why does that vibrant feeling, that sense of being truly seen, truly wanted, begin to fade? It's a question whispered in the quiet hours, often accompanied by a gentle ache, a longing for something that feels lost. This is not a journey of blame, nor of finding fault. It is an invitation to understanding.
To look beneath the surface of what we perceive as simply losing interest or growing apart, we are exploring the deeper currents, the unseen forces that can block the very flow of life within us and between us.
Think of our deepest, most vital energy as a clear, flowing river. It pulses, it moves, it nourishes everything in its path. This river is not merely about procreation or even just physical intimacy. It is the very current of life itself. It's the drive to create, to connect, to heal, to expand. This current between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. It is sacred. But sometimes this river meets obstructions, invisible blocks, unseen dams that begin to slow its flow, to diminish its power until it feels like a stagnant pool or perhaps just a trickle. And when energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the sparkle in our eyes, the spring in our step, the spontaneous joy that reminds us we are alive. What are these invisible blocks? They are not always dramatic events. Often they are woven into the very fabric of our daily existence, like threads so fine we barely notice them until they formed a thick, impenetrable veil. Consider the relentless daily hustle, the endless demands of work, of family, of keeping up with a world that never seems to pause. We are constantly giving, constantly doing, constantly striving. Our minds are a whirlwind of to-do lists, responsibilities, future worries. There is little space left for simply being. When our energy is constantly dissipated outwards, fighting fires, meeting deadlines, nurturing others, there is little left to nourish the deep, sensual core of ourselves. We become depleted, the reservoir empties. And how can desire, which requires presence and a certain overflow of spirit, thrive in a landscape of exhaustion? Then there are the unexpressed grievances, the small hurts, the quiet disappointments, the words left unspoken. They accumulate like pebbles dropped into a well, one by one, until they fill the space where connection once was. Perhaps it's a feeling of not being heard, of assumptions being made, of needs consistently overlooked. Each unaddressed wound creates a tiny energetic knot, a point of tension. Over time, these knots multiply, forming an intricate web that constricts the natural flow between two people. We build walls, not with bricks, but with silence and resentment. And behind these walls, the tender plant of desire withers. It longs for air, for light, for the gentle touch of understanding. And beneath these layers often lie deeper, more ancient inhabitants of our inner landscape: fears, guilt, and shame. Fear can be a powerful inhibitor. Fear of vulnerability, of opening up and being rejected. Fear of not being enough, of failing to please, of being seen as imperfect. Perhaps a fear of losing control, of surrendering to an energy that feels too powerful, too wild. When we hold back out of fear, we are essentially saying no to the full expression of our being. We pull back, we contract, we close down. And desire in its essence is an expansive, opening force. It cannot flourish in a closed space. Then there are the guilt and shame. Those heavy cloaks are perhaps the most insidious. They often stem from societal conditioning, from messages we absorbed about what is good or bad, proper or improper, when it comes to our bodies, our desires, our very sensuality.
We might carry the burden of past experiences, real or imagined, that told us our desires were wrong, dirty, or something to be hidden. This internal judgment creates a profound schism between our spirit and our body. We begin to disconnect from our physical self, seeing it as something separate, something to be managed or even punished, rather than a sacred vessel for life's energy. How can one feel desired when one secretly judges their own desire? How can one welcome intimacy when one carries a silent verdict of unworthiness? And sometimes it is simply fatigue, pure, unadulterated exhaustion. Our bodies are wise. They speak to us constantly. When we are truly depleted, physically, mentally, emotionally, the body's primary directive is to conserve energy, to rest, to heal. It will mute non-essential functions, and for many, deep sensual connection falls into this category when reserves are low. It's not a rejection of intimacy, it's the body screaming for replenishment. We cannot pour from an empty cup, and neither can our deepest sensual self.
This leads us to a crucial point: the loss of contact with our own body, breath, and true desires. We live in our heads. We analyze, we plan, we worry. We treat our bodies like vehicles to transport our brains, or tools to perform tasks, rather than sensing, feeling instruments of consciousness. We disconnect from the subtle whispers of our physical self. We ignore the aches, the tensions, the quiet longings. We become strangers to our own skin, to the rhythm of our own heart. How can another desire us when we are not even truly in our own bodies? And our breath is the very bridge between our inner and outer worlds, between spirit and matter. It is the most immediate conduit for life force. Yet, how often do we truly breathe? Deeply, fully, consciously? Most of us breathe shallowly, holding tension in our chests, barely allowing the life-giving oxygen to reach the depths of our being. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. Her energy expands, her presence radiates, her body becomes a living, vibrant temple. But when breath is restricted, so too is the flow of vitality, of aliveness, of desirability. And what of our true desires? Not the superficial wants, the fleeting urges, but the deep, authentic longings of our soul. We often forget how to listen to these. We become conditioned to chase external validation, to fulfill roles, to meet expectations. We lose touch with what truly nourishes us, what truly ignites our spirit. Desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the yearning for connection, for beauty, for meaning, for ecstatic union, not just with another, but with life itself. When this song is muted by the noise of the world, by fear or by shame, the sense of being desired can also dim, for we are no longer radiating the fullness of our own unique essence. Understand this. Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It is a natural, beautiful force. The fading of desire is rarely a sign that this force has vanished, but rather that its pathway has become obstructed. The river is still there, beneath the blockages. The light is still within, behind the veils. And for a man, too, this truth holds a mirror. A man doesn't lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when he stops seeing the profound mystery and beauty in the woman before him and within himself.
When he stops honoring the sacred current that flows between them. The journey back to feeling desired, to rekindling that spark, is not about fixing something that is broken. It is about gently, patiently, and lovingly removing the unseen barriers. It is about clearing the path for the river to flow freely once more. It is about remembering, about reconnecting, about listening to the quiet wisdom of your own body, your own breath, your own soul. The energy is always there, waiting. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. Close your eyes for a moment if you feel safe to do so, and just breathe. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. This simple rhythm, it is the pulse of life within you. And within that pulse, within that breath, resides a wisdom far older than words. We often imagine desire as a force that separates us, a longing for something outside ourselves. But what if it is, in truth, the force that unites? Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. It is a river, sometimes rushing, sometimes meandering, but always moving, always nourishing. It carries not only the immediate warmth of touch, but the deep generative power that births new worlds, new ideas, new connections. Think of it not as a simple itch, but as an awakening. Desire is the language through which the soul speaks. It doesn't merely whisper for physical union, it yearns for wholeness, for recognition, for the sacred dance of two spirits intertwining, even if only in a moment of shared gaze. It is the soul's deepest longing to express its own inherent beauty, its own creative impulse, its own connection to the infinite. This energy, this sensual current, it is not limited to the bedroom. Oh no, it is the very essence of creativity. When a painter stands before a blank canvas, yearning to bring forth beauty, when a musician seeks the perfect harmony, when a healer places hands upon a suffering body, channeling warmth and comfort, this too is sexual energy. It is the life force expressing itself, shaping, molding, bringing forth. It is the sacred urge to create, to mend, to enliven. It is the deep wellspring from which all inspiration flows, the silent hum that animates every leaf, every star, every human heart. It is the force that says yes to life, yes to becoming. And when this energy is blocked, when we build walls around it, out of fear or shame or misunderstanding, we don't lose sex. No, that's too narrow of you. We lose vitality. We lose the vibrant hum that makes life feel rich and meaningful. The colors of the world dim. The music fades. The very air we breathe feels thinner. We become disconnected, not just from another, but from our own deepest source. The river of life within us slows, becoming stagnant, and we feel a quiet emptiness where once there was a vibrant current. It is a profound loss, a subtle fading of our own inherent light. How then do we reawaken this current? How do we invite the river to flow freely once more? It begins with presence, with conscious attention.
With the simple, profound act of breathing. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. Her body becomes a vessel, open and receptive, inviting the very essence of existence to flow through her. Each breath is an invitation, a surrender, a gentle affirmation of her own living, breathing essence. It is a communion with the deep feminine wisdom that resides within her, a wisdom that remembers the rhythms of the earth, the cycles of the moon, the sacred pulse of creation. And for a man, too, breath is the key. A deep, grounded breath anchors him, allowing him to be fully present, not just in his mind, but in his body, in his heart. It allows him to meet life and another, not from a place of seeking or striving, but from a place of calm, centered power. It is about being, not doing, about feeling, not forcing. Movement, too, plays a vital role. Not strenuous effort, but gentle, flowing movement. The sway of the hips, the arch of the spine, the soft dance of the hands. These are not just physical actions, they are expressions of the soul. They are the body's language, releasing tension, inviting ease, allowing the energy to circulate, to soften, to expand. Imagine water flowing, not rigidly, but yielding, curving, finding its own path. Our bodies, too, can learn this wisdom, this natural grace. And attention. Where we place our attention, there our energy flows. To pay attention to the subtle sensations within your own body, to the gentle brush of air on your skin, to the quiet murmur of your own being, this is to honor the temple that is you. To pay attention to another, truly seeing them, truly hearing them, truly feeling their presence, this is to create a sacred space where energy can merge, where spirits can touch. It is in this attentive presence that true intimacy blossoms, not from expectation, but from reverence. We have been taught to fear attraction, to label it as something base or dangerous. But attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It is the recognition of one spark by another, a deep resonance that says, I see you. I recognize a part of myself in you. It is the magnetic pull of two complementary forces, seeking balance, seeking harmony, seeking the ancient dance of creation. It is a beautiful, natural phenomenon, a testament to the interconnectedness of all things. To deny attraction is to deny a fundamental truth of our existence, to resist the very current that binds us to each other and to the vast cosmos. Desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the deepest part of us humming with the memory of wholeness, yearning for connection, for expression, for the divine dance of life. It sings of beauty, of joy, of creation, of communion. It is a song that invites us to open, to receive, to give, to celebrate the incredible mystery of being alive, in a body connected to others. And as the years pass, we often worry about what we lose. But a man doesn't lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when the world becomes ordinary, when the magic fades, when curiosity is replaced by certainty. True power lies not in youth, but in presence, in wisdom, in the ability to see the sacred in the mundane, to feel the current in every moment. And for a woman, too, age brings not decline, but depth. Her sensual energy transforms, becoming richer, more profound, less about fleeting passion, and more about an abiding, radiant presence. Her wisdom becomes a beacon, her presence a sanctuary.
She does not lose her allure. She refines it, deepens it, makes it timeless. This energy within you, it is an exquisite gift. It is a source of inspiration, a wellspring of strength, a profound capacity for connection and creativity. It is not something to be controlled or suppressed, but to be understood, honored, and guided with reverence. It is the divine spark that makes you uniquely, gloriously you. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. And so we find ourselves at a threshold, don't we? A quiet space where the echoes of what once was mingle with a gentle longing for what could be again. That feeling of fading connection, of a subtle distance creeping in. It's not a sign of brokenness, but perhaps a forgotten language. A language the body once spoke fluently and the soul understood implicitly. How do we begin to remember? How do we invite that vibrant current, that river of life, to flow freely once more? It's not about seeking new techniques, no. It's about a deeper kind of archaeology, an excavation of self, a gentle, tender return. The path back, you see, is paved not with effort, but with presence, with a quiet, open awareness. It begins, as all life does, with breath. Close your eyes for a moment if you feel safe to do so, and simply notice your breath. Don't change it. Don't force it. Just feel the gentle rise and fall, the soft rhythm that has sustained you faithfully through every moment of your existence. This breath, it is not just air, it is the very current of life itself, flowing in and out of you. It is the unseen bridge between your inner world and the vastness of the universe. When a woman breathes deeply, truly deeply, life breathes with her. Her entire being softens. Tension, held for so long in the shoulders and the belly and the heart, begins to melt. Each inhale is an invitation for more life, more energy, more sensation. Each exhale is a release, a letting go of what no longer serves. This simple act, this conscious breathing, it is the first sacred step in clearing the riverbed, allowing the water to run freely again. It reconnects you to your primal rhythm, to the very pulse of your own existence. To breathe fully is to live fully.
To breathe deeply is to feel deeply. It is a quiet declaration. I am here. I am alive. I am open. And from this awakened breath, we move to touch. Not a touch of demand or expectation, but a touch of profound tenderness. Begin with yourself. Lay a hand gently upon your own skin, perhaps on your heart, or your belly, or the nape of your neck. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. Feel the soft texture of your skin. This is your temple. This is the sacred vessel of your being. How long has it been since you touched yourself with such pure, uncomplicated reverence? Without judgment, without agenda, just connection. This gentle touch, it is a conversation, a listening. Your body holds wisdom. It remembers. It holds stories, joys, sorrows, and a profound capacity for pleasure and connection. But we often silence it, don't we? We rush past its subtle whispers, lost in the clamor of the mind.
To touch yourself with presence is to say, I am listening. I am here for you. It is to reestablish intimacy with the very core of who you are, to honor the exquisite sensitivity that resides within you. And with a partner, if you share your life with one, this same tenderness can be a revelation, not a touch that seeks to ignite, but a touch that seeks to see, to simply hold a hand, to rest a palm on a back, to brush a cheek, with absolute presence, without the weight of needing something to happen, just the pure, uncomplicated act of connection. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. And this life, this current, is rekindled not through force, but through a gentle, open receiving, through the quiet miracle of two beings truly present with one another. This path of presence also calls for the courage to feel, to truly feel, without analysis or judgment. Many of us over time have learned to numb, to distance ourselves from sensations that feel too intense, too vulnerable, too uncomfortable. But when energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the vibrant spectrum of human experience. We lose creativity. We lose joy. To allow yourself to feel the quiet ache of longing, the warmth of a forgotten spark, the subtle hum of your own aliveness, this is a brave act. It is allowing the current to flow, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. It is creating the space for feelings to simply be, knowing that they are messengers, not masters. They are guides back to your own truth, back to your own powerful, sensual self. For desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the deep inherent yearning for connection, for expansion, for the full embrace of life. It is the language through which the soul speaks, reminding us of our capacity for joy, for intimacy, for creation. This desire, it is not a burden or a sin, it is a sacred force. Think of it. Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It's the magnetic pull of life towards life, expressing itself through our human form. It is the recognition of a spark, a resonance, a shared vibration. To deny it is to deny a fundamental truth of existence. To embrace it with awareness is to elevate it to its highest form. This journey is a return to inner wholeness. It is where desire ceases to be something external we chase and becomes an internal wellspring of inspiration, strength, and creativity. It is understanding that the power within you, the very essence of your feminine or masculine energy, has never diminished. It has simply been waiting for your conscious attention, for your gentle, loving presence.
A man doesn't lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder. And a woman doesn't lose her allure with time. She loses it when she forgets her own profound, inherent sacredness. So let us begin this quiet, tender journey back to the self, back to the flow, back to the wonder. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. And so we arrive at a quiet harbor, a place where the whispers of the soul can finally be heard without the clamor of expectation, without the rush of the world outside.
You may have traveled far, felt the distance grow, a subtle aching space between who you are in this moment and who you remember yourself to be. Perhaps you've wondered where the spark went, that deep, vibrant current that once flowed so freely, so effortlessly, through your veins, through your spirit. It's a natural question, isn't it? One born of a gentle ache, a quiet nostalgia, a longing for connection, for vitality, for that sense of being utterly alive, utterly resonant. You are not alone in this feeling. Many have walked this path, felt this quiet sadness, this yearning for what seems lost. But let me share a truth, a quiet understanding whispered across the ages. The energy within you, that very current of life itself, it has never truly left. It cannot. It is the very essence of your being, as fundamental as your breath, as ancient as the stars that guide us. Imagine a river, a powerful, flowing force. Sometimes the surface may appear calm, still, perhaps even dry in times of drought. The banks might seem parched, cracked by the sun, devoid of life. But beneath the earth, deep within the hidden layers, the water still flows, a subterranean current, deep, unseen, relentless, waiting, always waiting, for the right conditions, for the gentle rain to rise again, to burst forth. Your sensual energy, your creative force, that inherent spark of life within you, it is precisely like that hidden river. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't vanish into thin air. It simply changes form. Or perhaps it waits, patiently, for your gaze to return, for your awareness to shift. It waits for you to remember its presence, to feel its subtle, undeniable hum beneath the busy surface of your everyday life, to recognize its quiet insistence. For often, we fall into the trap of believing that power diminishes with time, that the flame of desire must inevitably flicker, must inevitably fade with the passing seasons of life. We look to the mirror, we see the gentle lines etched upon our skin, the quiet silver in our hair, and we sigh, a sigh laden with stories of youth, of passion, of what once was. But a man doesn't lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when the world becomes ordinary, when the sunrise loses its magic, when a simple touch loses its depth. And a woman, she does not lose her inherent radiance when her form shifts, when her body tells new tales of experience. She loses it when she stops feeling the sacred pulse, the vibrant rhythm within her own body, when she stops looking at life, at others, at herself, with open eyes and an open heart, filled with curiosity and reverence. This isn't about the calendar. It's about attention, about presence, about reverence. When we cease to gaze upon the world around us and upon the miracle within ourselves with that childlike awe, that quiet curiosity, that thirst for discovery, we inadvertently dim our own light. We forget the profound miracle of simply being, of existing in this vibrant, unfolding universe. And when we forget the miracle, when we lose touch with that sense of everyday magic, we lose touch with the miraculous energy that fuels us, the very force that propels us forward. That current, that vibrant flow, it is not merely for procreation or for fleeting physical pleasure. No, it is so much more. It is the very lifeblood of your inspiration, the source of your creative surge.
It guides your healing touch. It deepens your intuition. It opens the pathways to your profound wisdom. It is the wellspring of your compassion. When energy is blocked, when that vital current is impeded, we don't merely lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose that deep, resonant hum of life itself. We lose the spring in our step, the gleam in our eye, the passion for our purpose, the joy in our daily encounters. We lose the full, resonant chord of our own being. We become diminished, not in essence, but in experience. But this energy, this sacred fire, it is patient beyond measure. It doesn't demand, it doesn't force, it simply is. Like the sun waiting behind the thickest clouds, its light is always there, unwavering, constant, even when we cannot perceive it directly. Your inner light, it is always waiting for you. It yearns for recognition, not for judgment, not for scrutiny, but for a gentle, loving acknowledgement. It seeks your soft awareness, your tender gaze, your conscious breath. How do we find it again? How do we rekindle this inherent flame? We don't search for it as if it were some elusive treasure lost outside of us. No, we simply turn inward. We listen. We feel. We listen to the quiet murmurs of the body, the subtle sensations, the gentle stirrings, the deep pulses. We feel the breath moving within us, a soft, gentle rhythm, a constant, unwavering renewal, the first act of life, the last act of peace. When a woman breathes deeply, fully, consciously, life breathes with her. The universe expands with her. She embodies the very essence of creation. And when a man grounds himself into the quiet earth beneath his feet, into the stillness of his own core, he remembers his own enduring strength, his rootedness, his capacity to hold and to create. Desire, it is not the body calling alone. No, it is so much more profound. It is the soul singing, a profound melody, an ancient song, a yearning for connection, for union, first with oneself, a deep, loving embrace of all that you are. Then, from that place of wholeness, with another, a dance of two complete beings. Attraction, it is not sin. It is not something to be feared or suppressed. It's the universe remembering itself. It is the recognition of resonant frequencies, a deep, ancient call from one soul to another, from one spirit to another, a recognition of shared essence, a dance of light, of shadow, of intertwining energies, a sacred exchange. And between a man and a woman, when this deep recognition unfolds, flows not just passion, not just fleeting excitement, but life itself, a sacred exchange.
A profound creation of intimacy, of understanding, of shared purpose, of a journey walked together, hand in hand, heart to heart. To feel desired, truly desired, deeply desired, is to feel seen, to feel received, to feel the warmth of another's presence mirroring your own inner light, shining back at you. It is to feel cherished, to feel understood, to feel that exquisite sense of belonging. But this reflection, this beautiful mirroring, it begins within. When you honor your own body, not as an object, but as a sacred vessel, a temple of sensation and spirit. When you allow your emotions to flow, like water, cleansing, nourishing. When you breathe into your own being with kindness, with acceptance, with an unconditional love. You begin to glow from the inside out, a soft, radiant luminescence. You become a lighthouse, radiating your own unique warmth, your own unmistakable frequency. And this warmth, this inner light, this authentic presence, it is irresistible.
Not in a demanding way, not in a grasping way, but in a magnetic, undeniable way. It draws life to you. It draws profound connection. It draws joy. It draws inspiration. So let us shed the burden of what was, or what should be. Let us release the fear that something precious has been lost forever. Nothing truly vital, nothing truly essential to your being can ever be lost. It can only be forgotten or momentarily obscured, like the stars, hidden by the bright artificial lights of the city. They are always there, burning brightly, patiently, waiting for the darkness to clear. Your task, if you choose to accept this gentle invitation, is simply to remember the wonder, to remember the sacredness of your own being, the profound beauty of your existence, to remember the quiet power, the boundless energy that resides within you, always. It asks for nothing more than your gentle presence, your soft attention, your open heart, your willingness to simply feel. Feel the quiet warmth spreading through you now, the subtle pulse, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. This is it. This is the current, always flowing, always present, always alive. This is the beginning, or perhaps the sweet, tender rediscovery of your true vitality. It is not something you must earn, or chase, or strive for. It simply is. It is your birthright. Embrace this knowing. Rest in this profound truth. Your energy, your light, your deepest essence waits for you, patiently, lovingly, eternally. It is always there, a quiet flame, ready to be tended, ready to expand, ready to illuminate your path, ready to warm your world, ready to reconnect you to the fullness of life, to the vibrant tapestry of existence, to the deep well of your own magnificent being. And as you rest, as you feel, as you breathe, know that this journey is a continuous unfolding.
A gentle awakening, a loving remembrance. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken.